What's up, YouTube? Back again with another new video. So this time around, this will be another trends video, but it won't exactly be laid out like any of my previous trend videos, and by that I mean it won't be my favorite or my least favorite or worst, which really pissed a lot of people off. But it will pretty much just be me acknowledging what has come to the forefront of popularity within the past like 2-3 months of 2017. Albeit a lot of these things really did gain traction mid to late 2016, but are now growing to new heights of popularity. And way later in the year, I do plan on doing like a favorite or least favorite like trends video for the year, but it's obviously too soon to do anything like that. At least I think it is. I think I should wait it out before I kind of make any type of opinion-based video like that. So those will come towards the end of the year, but anyway, let's just get started with the first one, which is Sherpa lined jackets. Now obviously this has existed forever, but I've been noticing kind of like this rise of it becoming very popular again. If you look at a lot of the outerwear pieces from Fear of God 5th collection, there's plenty of jackets, denim jackets, as well as I believe some bombers that are lined with the classic Sherpa lining, and a lot of things from Yeezy Season 5 even are now kind of moving towards the Sherpa look, and I think it's a really classic look. I never really thought it was something that went out of style, but yeah, I do see it kind of becoming more and more popular, and I'm sure it'll trickle down to a lot of fast fashion chains, which will probably apply the lining to bomber jackets, classic denim trucker jackets, even possibly some leather biker jackets, and so on and so forth, possibly even hoodies as well. And next, moving on to number 2, you have that floral Gucci style embroidery that Gucci did pretty much the majority of 2016, and a lot of other brands are definitely taking notice and starting to take inspiration or ripping off depending on how you see it. And you see maybe pieces from H&M, Forever 21, and maybe more expensive brands starting to mimic that style. And there are also a lot of people who are selling their customs on Grailed and eBay. Like, people are putting the rose embroidery on Vans Old Schools as well as Vans slip-ons. And the Adidas Stan Smith seems to also be a pretty popular canvas of choice for these people to customize. And I think it's a pretty clean look. I don't know if I would ever like wear that personally, but I definitely can see it maybe even outlasting 2017. Maybe some people will disagree with that, but we'll just have to wait and see, essentially. And next, moving on to number 3, this is something I'm sure that all of you have seen, maybe splashed all over YouTube, Instagram, fashion blogs, whatever you guys are into, and it is the vintage sportswear revival, whether that be people wearing Reebok sneakers again, vintage Umbro track pants, Kappa is really popular again, and vintage Fila. And I think the Fila and kind of Kappa hype came from Gosha. I'm sure maybe a lot of people would agree with that, because I didn't really see too many people rocking Fila or Kappa. Well, I didn't see anybody rocking Kappa like 2 years ago, and I'm pretty sure you would have been able to pick any of those brands up for relatively cheap prices back in the day at your local thrift store. But just like with vintage Guess and like vintage Polo, the prices for all these things have shot up dramatically. And you're even looking at people copying Diadora as well, which is a brand that I forgot existed in all honesty. But I do think it's pretty cool. I just don't really, I personally wouldn't justify paying a lot of money for some of the vintage pieces that people thrifted. I know it is kind of harder to come by some of that stuff in good condition, but I feel like if you search hard enough, it is out there, and you don't really need to be spending $200 to $300 on like a 20-year-old pair of Kappa track pants. And kind of segueing into the next one at number 4, I think that's the number we're on, is cropped track pants. So people are actually customizing a lot of these pants, and they're also customizing the cargo pants. Kind of like a slimmer fitting cargo, at least is what I noticed, is becoming a very popular item of choice, as opposed to a traditional cargo pant, which is pretty baggy and pretty wide. I've seen a lot of slim cut cargos, and I think I've seen skinny cargos, but that really didn't look too good to me. But once again, that's entirely up to you to decide whether or not you think the skinny cargos is a really good look or not. And next, moving on to number 5, it's essentially kind of stemming off like the sportswear thing again, except it is all new stuff pretty much, and it is Champion reverse weave hoodies, Champion sweatpants, Champion collabing with your favorite streetwear brands. Champion's pretty much everywhere now, and I think the funny thing about that is, if you look back, I remember Pyrex got a lot of flack for being printed on Champion shorts, but now it's like the cool thing if you're on Champion, which is kind of, I don't even know what to call it. That's just kind of strange to me. And people who are paying a lot of money, because I know, was it Ssense or, oh crap, I can't remember what site it was, but there was like some Champion crew necks that were like well over $100, and that's a little ridiculous to me. I mean, I really do like the logo, I really do like the hoodies and whatnot, but how much better is it? And you tell me this because I'm not aware, because I haven't owned one yet, at least not the reverse weave. Is the reverse weave hoodie really that much better than a standard hoodie you can get from another brand? Like, is it really worth the $65? Or is it just in its current hype? Is that what you're paying for? Somebody feel free to comment down below and let me know, because some of the prices on these Champion items are getting a little crazy nowadays. And lastly, I'm gonna comment on Nautica. As you know, Lil Yachty pretty much brought that back to the forefront. And I do see people selling vintage Nautica now, not that they didn't prior, but it never really had such a high dollar figure associated with it. Like, you could probably pick that shit up on eBay 2-3 years ago for a relatively affordable price, but now, once again, just like I said with a lot of the vintage sportswear stuff, now that it's popular, the prices have shot up, which is a great thing for resellers, which is dope and all. But yeah, that's pretty much the majority of things that I've noticed becoming relatively hyped or popular in menswear, streetwear, hypebeast trends, whatever you want to call them, in 2017. Overall, I'm not gonna lie, I like the majority of this stuff, which is pretty crazy because there's a lot of things I want to say, like 2011, 2012, 2013, that I wasn't particularly fond of, but I actually like the way things are moving into 2017. A lot of people might think a lot of this stuff is pretty bland, except for the embroidery stuff. That's pretty standout, and it definitely has some pop to it. But I don't know, I guess I'm just fucking dull. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. I do plan on posting on a consistent basis, and honestly, there's like 1 or 2 videos that are going to drop within the next 2 weeks that could possibly stir some controversy, which, I mean, depending on how you see it, like, oh, from like a gaining view perspective, that's a good thing. But I feel like a lot of people misinterpret things sometimes, so I don't know if it's the safest thing to drop. But there's a high likelihood I'm gonna release it anyway. I'm probably gonna get tons of angry emails, which I've gotten recently, but anyway, I guess that's just the nature of making things like that on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, like I already said, and stay tuned for those upcoming videos. Peace out, YouTube.